Imagine watching a live news broadcast where the reporter looks directly into the lens and calmly reads your full name as a recent casualty. You're still sitting on your couch, heart pounding, very much alive, but the screen says otherwise. This impossible phenomenon happens entirely without warning. During the quiet hours of the night, every television network simultaneously drops its regular programming. At exactly 1:13 a.m., the screens flood with static before cutting to a dark, completely silent studio. A lone female reporter sits in the center of the void. She doesn't speak. She simply maintains an unnatural, unblinking stare, watching the camera for 20 agonizing seconds, as if she can see straight through the glass and into your living room. When the silence finally breaks, she begins reporting tomorrow's deaths. She reads a list of names, ages, and exact local addresses, describing the ends of people who, at this very moment, are still tucked into their beds. The horrifying confirmation arrives the next morning. Every individual named on the broadcast is found dead. They expire at the exact times and in the exact ways the reporter described, leaving local authorities struggling to explain the mathematical impossibility of the predictions. People have tried to record these broadcasts to warn the public, but the footage behaves erratically. In every uploaded clip, the reporter appears with a different face, different hair, and a different voice. The only constant across every recording is that chilling, fixed smile. Watching the broadcast creates a dangerous connection. The television screen stops being a simple display and becomes a window, allowing an unknown entity to observe the audience as closely as the audience observes the screen. The pattern breaks on a specific night, when the reporter stops reading the list. She stares into the camera for a full minute, her smile widening, before she whispers, "We know you're watching." A burst of violent static tears across the screen, briefly illuminating something standing in the darkness behind her. It is a tall, impossibly blurry figure that the camera lens seems to actively recoil from. The broadcast turns its full attention toward you. The reporter begins reading your specific demographics and your exact address, concluding with a final, terrifying detail. Your death is scheduled for 3:17 a.m. The lights in your apartment die instantly. On the screen, the reporter's gaze shifts. She is no longer looking at the camera. She is looking at the space physically located behind your couch. The broadcast functions as a scheduling system. By naming a viewer, the channel dispatches a physical entity into their home to enforce the timeline, ensuring the tragedy occurs exactly when the news said it would. The figure standing in the darkness is the collector, a tall, thin entity with skin like pale, wet paper. It moves with a series of soft, bone-cracking steps, tilting its head as it closes the distance between the wall and your seat. As the broadcast camera zooms closer to the reporter's face, her eyes reveal a horrifying secret. Moving inside her pupils are tiny silhouettes of people, their mouths open in a permanent, silent scream. The signal infects your phone, your open laptop, and every spare television, powering on at once, filling the dark apartment with the flickering glow of identical reporters, all watching you. The entity places a freezing, heavy hand on your shoulder. In that moment, every screen in the apartment whispers in perfect synchronization, "Thank you for tuning in." This is the final stage of collection. The audience is harvested, their consciousness pulled into the signal to serve as permanent, involuntary cast members for the next broadcast. A strange displacement occurs. You can still feel yourself standing in the room, but on the television screen, your own face has already appeared next to the reporter's desk. You look pale, motionless, and completely dead. The physical body follows the bottom timeline toward death, while the broadcast operates on the top path, harvesting consciousness before the heart stops. The top timeline jumps into the future, showing live footage of police arriving for a body you haven't finished inhabiting. The TVs switch to your own security camera feed. You watch yourself lying on the living room floor, your neck bent at an impossible angle. To the rest of the world, your story is already over. The news cycle operates faster than reality. It reports the tragedy and processes the soul, finalizing death before the human mind can register the trauma. The walls of your apartment dissolve into violent gray static. You drop out of the physical world, landing in an impossibly vast, pitch-black television studio. Thousands of news desks stretch into the darkness. Behind them sit the previous viewers, weeping, distorted figures acting as puppets for the camera. They are forced to read names into the lenses, their mouths moving against their will to announce the next round of casualties. The smiling reporter approaches and hands you a stack of papers. It is tomorrow's death report. Your shift has officially begun, and your first task is to read the names of the people who are watching you right now. Across the world, millions of people stare at screens in dark bedrooms, unaware they have invited the entity in the static into their homes. They are waiting for the news, and completely not realizing that they are the news. The broadcast never stops because it constantly finds new voices to fill the airwaves. By watching this, you've already acknowledged the signal, and the channel never lets a viewer go.